My name's Lisa. I'm part of the education team here at the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery. So I'm going to do a fun activity with you to show you how to recreate your own landscape out of plasticine. So we're looking at the Grete Marks painting here of a Derbyshire landscape. Okay, so what you'll need is a piece of card about the size of a postcard, some plasticine and possibly some modelling tools, and a cocktail stick might come in handy for some details later on. So I'm going to start off with putting some blocks of colour down and starting with lighter colours first of all. So I'm just going to warm the plasticine up a little bit and then start to put some blocks of colour, just smudging it onto the card. You can use any offcuts of sort of cardboard packaging, corrugated cardboard. So I'm going to move on. You don't have to completely cover the card because you're going to add more layers of plasticine on. I'm going to move on to some blue. By mixing the plasticine on the card rather than in your hands, you can get nice sort of marbling effects and streaks, which are good for sky and things like water. It won't look like anything to start with until you've got some of the blocks of colour on and put some of the detail on later. Don't worry if it looks a complete mess to start with. So just look at a picture of the painting and keep referring to it just to see where the blocks of colour are. So try and work more in the far distance of the painting. So here I'm more showing you just the technique rather than doing an exact recreation. You'll find it once you start layering more than two colours, it'll become a little bit easier to smudge. Don't worry about lots of detail at this stage. You just want some background blocks of colour. And you won't be doing yours upside down, so it should be easier. So if you want to mix colours together, say you want to make orange, use a small amount of the stronger, darker colour, and you can mix it in your hands like that. You could just roll it in. This is good for pupils to see how the colour does start to change as they're blending. Or you can mix them directly onto the picture. So if you go over a section where you've put the yellow, you can actually blend it straight onto the card rather than in your hand. So by starting with some of the lighter colours first, from the white and the yellow and green through to darker colours, you're keeping the brightness and the colour cleaner, so you don't get dark colours smudging into the white and the yellow. So I'm going to make a bit of grey. So a big blob of white, but a small blob of black because it's a strong colour. So you get some nice kind of marbling effects. So you can use it like that, or you can continue to mix it so it's an even colour. It's nice to have this kind of marbling effect because this is the dry stone wall in the foreground. The more you sort of smudge, the more you'll lose the marbling sort of streaky effect in the colour. So we can keep going back to the colours, so you're building layers up and getting more texture and marks into the painting. So that's pretty much all of our background, so we can go back and start to put a bit more of the detail in. You can use the back of your fingernail for scraping and smudging. You can use tools like pencils and cocktail sticks for putting detail in, but at this stage your fingers are your best tools. So we've got a lighter patch there. I've got a kind of square field there. And we've got a cluster of trees in the mid ground here. You can put a bit of sort of shadow, put a bit more of this darker sky behind the big sort of rocky cliff at the back. So just keep smudging and blending the plasticine in. You get some really effective marks where you've just smudged your finger across and you get the colours blending together. I think I'll start to put a bit more detail. So in this painting you've got quite a lot of dark kind of outlines of the fields and of the stone wall. Roll some little tiny sausages of plasticine. So we've got a darker area here. You can use a cocktail stick for any bits that are a bit fiddly. If your line goes a bit off, you can just scrape it back. You can use it to scrape into the plasticine for more marks. Your hands are going to get a little bit stuck up with plasticine. So details like the definition of the individual sort of firm fence posts you can do with the black outlines. Any little bits like this, just make sure they're pressed on so that when the plasticine dries it doesn't flake off. So we can go right into the foreground now. We've got most of the background done, so we can put the buckets at the front, in front of the wall. Bit of shading. So put a few more black outlines. You can just keep going really, and it's quite therapeutic. So there you go. I could keep going all day, but we'll stop there. I'm just showing you the technique really. Pupils can make a full painting each or make a section of the painting to assemble as a class mural. You can recreate any masterpiece using the same technique. So good luck creating your own masterpieces and let us know how you get on.